Hi guys, hope all of us are doing great. My name is Ernest and this is Ernest Sciences and Mathematics TV channel. Today we are going to look at an additional concept on the concept of the coordinate systems, and this is going to be the concept of the base vectors. Now the base vectors are basically going to be illustrated as units vectors which are going to be oriented along the three axes for the x, y and z that we had mentioned as axes which are making up the rectangular coordinate system. And basically the concept of base vectors is going to be displayed in these three other coordinate systems that we had mentioned for the cylindrical and the spherical coordinate system. Now the concept of your unit vector is going to be described as a stretch along the x, y and z direction of a single point. So suppose we were to demarcate this unit along the x-axis as a numerical figures for 1, 2, and then therefore the stretch between the origin and this specific point is going to be a stretch of a unit. Therefore it's going to be referred to as unit. So the concept of a unit vector implies a stretch along the x-axis of one unit, and the stretch along the z-axis of one unit, and the stretch along the z-axis of course of y-axis of one unit. So talking of the base vectors, therefore we have said that these are unity vectors which are strictly, of course, positioned in the direction of this basic axis for the x, y, and z, and therefore they can be illustrated as such. So generally, we can be able to give, suppose the stretch between this particular point of origin and the unit along the x-axis is represented as ax, and this is a vector, and therefore for the y-axis we can be able to represent it as ay, and for the z as az respectively. So basically this is going to imply the concept of representing that base vector. And for the general case, we have said that we can be able to represent a unit and the coordinate system, perhaps point P, using the x, y, and z given as such. So in trying to see how we can be able to represent the vectors that are joining the origin to this specific point, then therefore we can give a general example for the base vectors for the unit along the x-axis. Let's say perhaps another point for the p prime which is described for x, y, and z, for x1, y1, and z1, which is basically a base unit. We can be able to represent that one using the coordinates for x1, a, x, and then for this is for x. For y, we're going to have the y1, a, y, and then for z, we're going to have z1, a, z, given using those three specific representation. Of course, we do not have this. Just writing this one below for emphasis purposes. So we're going to see that this one can be represented as individual points. For instance, if I try to write for x, I can have it represented generally as x with no stretch both in the x and the y and z direction. For y, I can be able to represent it as the coordinates for y, and then for lastly for z, I can be able to represent them as y for 0, z given as such. So this basically represents what we refer to as the base units, and we're going to see the various aspects in the three coordinate system that we had mentioned for the spherical, cylindrical, and the rectangular coordinate system, which basically I've given an example on the board. So we shall have to leave it at this specific point. Catch us in our next videos. We are going to look at different aspects of this coordinate system, especially concerning this description of a point, and perhaps a service on this coordinate system that I've mentioned, and various characteristics that we're going to, of course, attach to them. So this is it for now, guys. Bye. God bless you.